Spatchcock Nation, we are here representing Crunch Nation, Syracuse Nation, with Daniel Walcott, a.k.a. Wally, number 85 in your programs and number 1 in your hearts. This is a guy that we are pumped to have on here for a few reasons. Now, here's the thing. We're lucky to have the Crunch in the area because it's an important glue to our culture here. But it's equally as important to have a guy like him here, right? He bought a home in the area. He's a 2-time Syracuse Man of the Year. He was injured, and then while he was injured, decided to become a big brother. I mean, come on. He raised money to fight prostate cancer for his Syracuse parents and an adopted family that he's become close with here. This is a guy that makes time for the fans. He's a good lip syncer. If you go on to YouTube and check out his lip sync game, he can dance a little bit too. And it turns out he can play a little bit of hockey. He's an athletic player that also is a big hitter. And it's rare to see people that can be physically intimidating and play a physical game while still being athletic and able to do a lot of different things. So that's a good blend to see you on there. So how's it going, bro?
Not doing too bad. Just hanging out in Syracuse still, kind of hoping for the season to start over again. So I'm hanging around here, working out and keeping busy.
All right, good. We're trying to order up some nicer weather because this is the time of year that I love going to Crunch games because it's warm out. I have to wear a jacket until I get inside. I can have a beer. So hopefully when we get back to hockey, it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, just right. It's all over the place right now, the weather. Yesterday it was gorgeous. Today it's raining and kind of cold. So we're just, as soon as it settles down and figures out what it wants to be, then we'll be fine.
All right, cool. So let's get this party started, man, and start firing up some questions. You ready?
Yep, ready. Let's go.
Okay, the first one that we typically do is always an MFK. So you have to have the M is a long-term healthy marriage with someone. The F is a romantic one-night liaison. And the K is you got to kill somebody.
Yep.
So your choices are Al, the Ice Gorilla, the Tully Turtle, and Crunch Man.
All right. Well, Al and Crunch Man were both, Crunch mascots. And so Tully, unfortunately, the turtle, is going to have to go. He's going to have to get booted from this life. I would marry the Crunch Man and a one-night fling with Al because, you don't want to really talk about that, but just get it out of the way.
Yeah, for sure. I think, too, I love animals, and Al looks like he'd be a lot of fun, but that could get a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Crunch Man seems like he really takes care of himself, which I like. And the Tully Turtle, though, I mean, I feel like they would take it really slow, and maybe I need that, but I'm gonna go with the same answers. I'm gonna kill the turtle, marry Crunch Man.
And these are all female versions of them, right?
They can be whatever version you want them. Okay, so now on to some questions. So who is a movie character that you'd want a hockey fight?
I don't want to, you know what? Actually, it would be Captain America because it would be a win-win for me in the sense that I'm expected to lose. But at the same time, the guys would be fired up that I'm challenging a big man like that. So a strong man like that.
For sure, dude. That would be massive. People would definitely want to see that fight. And you never know, man. Sometimes you get a good shot in, and then you're the guy.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. That threw me for a loop. So my answer originally was going to be the Grinch from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because the Grinch ends up being a really good dude, but I feel like if he would have got a really good beating beforehand, he might have been even better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's good. You're doing the people a good service there.
It's sometimes you got to.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one that might be hopefully in your future. You have one day with the Stanley Cup. What are you going to do with it?
Actually, I've thought about this a lot. Any cup really, but definitely the Stanley Cup would be, I'm a very competitive guy. My group of friends back home as well. We're always competing on stuff. So I would definitely put the Stanley Cup up for maybe organize some kind of Olympiad or mini Olympics to win the Stanley Cup in the end. Definitely team oriented sports, but yeah, that would be a full day of just Olympiads and having a good time with my buddies to win the Stanley Cup.
Wow, that I had a similar answer too. I thought could you do some kind of beer Olympics, race to see, who can finish the Stanley Cup? But I mean, there's been so many awesome things done with that trophy and all sorts of trophies. So I also think I might actually. I mean, people have been baptized in the Stanley Cup. That's which is wild. So I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna go. Like I would make like a really really good drink, like a punch bowl of mojito, and just as you're hanging out at the party, just walk by and happen to scoop a cup out of the Stanley Cup. I think that might be pretty
Yeah,
baller.
that would be pretty sick. Right there in the middle of the party. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now you're from Montreal and you have adopted life here and just treat people so well. But sometimes I know that some Canadians think that Americans have ruined some of their food. So, what's a Canadian food that you think Americans have ruined?
I mean, it's so easy, especially being from Montreal. For me, it's the poutine. There's just you need the right gravy, you need the right cheese curds, and the fries have to be, cooked in an old oil so they're nice and greasy. But I just feel like here sometimes they put like melted cheese already, like some of that cheese whiz on the fries, and then gravy. Yeah, it's not the same. So I think they make a good attempt at it, but it's not like back home.
Yeah, it's the thought that counts. Like first of all, it has to be cheese curds.
Yeah,
Don't use cheese curds to me, it's weak. And then I agree about the old oil. Poutine's definitely what I would go with too. But they have these poutineries. Let's get fancy. Well, first, make the fries good. Use good seasoned oil, but also double fry it, right? Because then
yeah,
you get that
absolutely.
crispy outside to it. So what back home is the gravy they typically use? It's a beef gravy, right?
Yeah, it's just a very thick beef gravy. When it's not as thick, it's not the same. It's got to really be like, and not like a big mush. You have to see the fries are not all soggy, and then the big thick gravy that doesn't really soak up the fries just yet until you start mixing around, and then the cheese on top, and everything is kind of separated at first. It doesn't look like a mush, and then you turn it into what you want, and very traditional, no extra fancy things on it.
Love it, love it. The type of gravy too that's thick enough that you have it on a fork. Like you don't need a spoon for this gravy. Like
Yeah,
it's gonna
exactly.
hang.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that you make it your own too, because it's funny how everybody like when you eat cereal, right, in the morning, I'm a person like I put the cereal in first, I hit the milk, and then I get right after because I hate it being soggy.
Yeah,
Other people might like it, but poutine's something that you can actually control yourself if it's done right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so I know right now that you're staying in shape. You're working out here. We were talking about it before we went live. What is your go-to like beer, drink, alcoholic drink, maybe your beer, if you still drink while you're training? What do you do while you're still training, trying to stay fit and be a badass professional athlete while still having a drink?
I usually leave the drinking for the weekends because I have Saturday, Sundays off. And in the summer, I'm a huge Corona guy. Like there's something about a Corona with a lime under the sun. It just goes in real nice and smooth, and or either that or I used to be big on vodka pink lemonades, but then they came out with the pink Whitney, and I was like, I don't want to be like that guy that's just following a trend. So I got away from it and just stuck to my Coronas now.
So a Corona, man, to me is one of those things like, especially you pull a Corona out of a cooler and it's got like the shards of ice on it. You know what I mean? And you're like, I can't wait to drink this beer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I know a lot of people that when they're trying to work out, like, so I've done this a little bit. I try to work out a lot because I eat and drink so much, and go to just like tequila and club soda because it's low sugar and it can get you where you want to go too sometimes. So that's not a bad little mix up.
Yeah, tequila is definitely something that if I want to get after it, then I would definitely mix in a tequila here and there, or some sort of margarita or something.
Yeah, just to keep things going.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So tell us, because in your life, you just ingratiate yourself to communities and stuff like that, but you travel a lot. So what's a really good road trip story that you can share with us?
Wow, there's a lot of good road trip. Actually, one very memorable one because it was recent. It was this year. We had a long road trip, started in Providence, then Charlotte, then Bridgeport, but we had a New York City trip mixed into that. And one of our players, Chris Mueller, he had been to this place called Lavo on a Sunday, and it's like a dinner that you have, but you have performers dancing on your tables, live performances throughout the night. You got dancers, saxophone players. It's crazy, the atmosphere there, and they make the people involved. So we got obviously team full of hockey players. We're always trying to get involved in the thing. So we got guys dancing on tables and stuff, joining in on the party, and it was really a good time. It really got us together to bond over a nice dinner.
I mean, yeah, hockey players like to just get in the mix and mix things up. Obviously, that club actually, Lavo, my friend Alex, who's the partner with this cooking show, a huge Crunch guy, does the Crunch videos. He and I actually tried to go. We were going to try to go in there. It was a Sunday, but we couldn't. It was impossible to get out of the list. But at that trip was New York, though, and it was during the playoffs, and Tampa Bay was going to be playing the Rangers, and we were in Atlantic City, being low key as one does in Atlantic City. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we decided that either we were no longer allowed in the state of New Jersey, or just decided to go over to New York City. And we got there, and he's obviously a huge hockey fan, and we're big sports fans. So there's this cool outdoor bar across the street from the Garden. And we're there having drinks, we're having Coronas, and we're like, oh, dude, it'd be great to go to that game. And we thought, let's go scalp a ticket. So we go down there, and the taxi man sees what we're trying to do, and he's like, hey, listen, all the tickets out here are fake. You guys don't want to do that. So we're like, is he just saying that?
Yeah.
So we saw this little girl, and she's like the biggest Rangers fan that ever lived. So it's her older brother, and her dad. And we see them talking to this guy, and they're scalping tickets. So we watch them go to the gate, and they were fake tickets. And the girl was just heartbroken. It was a good road trip, though. New York, if you're a sports fan, it's great, but you hate seeing something like that happen,
Yeah, it's awful, but you gotta be careful. You gotta be really
Yeah.
Listen to the locals. Listen and trust the locals.
They know what they're talking about. Okay, so who is a big celebrity crush that you have, Ollie?
I'd have to say Margot Robbie for sure, 100%, 100.
Okay, that's a pretty quick answer. So I promise you, we will tag her when we post this on Instagram. We're like, yo,
love that.
Give this guy a ring.
Yeah. So it started because when I got drafted by the Rangers, I had watched, anyways, Wolf of Wall Street, and then I saw she had a picture wearing at a Rangers game, wearing a jersey, huge fan, and I was like, okay. And once I play for the Rangers, that's it. We're gonna be a couple. And then I got traded. So, but yeah, still Margot. Yeah.
Awesome answer. She's a really talented player too. She's good, smart. Just does great movie roles. My celebrity crush, I think right now, might be Minnie Driver. There's something about her voice and the way that she carries herself. I'm like, all right, if my amazing wife decided that I wasn't cool anymore. I mean, not that I ever have a shot at Minnie Driver either, but I didn't have a shot at my wife, so who knows, right?
Oh, there you go.
Sometimes you gotta see what happens. Okay, so this is a question that we've been thinking about for you for a while. Actually, that we had talked about while watching a game last year. What's your favorite conversation after a fight in the penalty box? Can you share any of those conversations?
Usually they're not very. It's usually pretty quiet. Well, depending on if the fight was a long fight, a good fight, that the guy's like, hey, good job. Usually one of those. But I remember once in juniors, there's this one guy, me and him were going at it, and we tried to fight, but the refs came in early, and I had dragged him down and had him down. But then the refs came in, and then we got in the box, and he kept chirping, and then it was well, I didn't even need 5 seconds with you, and now you're already on the ground. You're lucky the refs are. So that was the only one time that we just kept going in the box. Oh, we're gonna go again. Yeah, absolutely. But end up not fighting again. But that was the only interesting. There's not very interesting stories on my part after a fight. I mean, after scrums, there's always the guys are trying to get over and come over and get at me because I just look at them and smile and laugh. But definitely that was the most memorable.
The thing about when people watch you and the way that you and your teammates interact, but you in particular, there's a lot of parts of hockey that fans, you're really close in the action. So you're kind of a part of the activity, which is great, right? And players feed off that. But those small details, like the conversations in the penalty box or what people are talking about on the bench, people see the way that you do that and that you love doing that and having fun. And that's to me is what brings people back to the arena,
Yeah, I mean, I love going to another building, and I try to be public enemy number one. That's where I thrive. I love being in that position where I got guys that hate me. I have two older brothers. I would love to just mess with them, and it's like so. I grew up in it, and when I go out there and play, I'm just the same guy. I just try to get under people's skin and have fun with it.
Well, it's working. It works for you so far. Okay, so one thing we want to know from you too. What's your favorite Syracuse fan story? Your interaction with the fans?
I believe it was my first or second year. I remember there was this one fan in section at the time. It was just section one. Now it's 201. Who would always start a "Let's Go Crunch" chant, but he would yell like his. You would hear him, one guy, and you would hear him throughout the whole rink. And his eyes were like bursting out of his head, and his veins were all popping out, and he was yelling, and it was awesome. You'd always get the fans would get it right away, and unfortunately, he had passed away in my second year, I think, or my third year, and it was really sad. But it's they keep there's that one section in that corner that keeps his like a sign of him, or they keep trying to keep his tradition going, which is great. So that's the one memorable story I have of a Syracuse fan. That's really, I always think of that guy when they start the "Let's Go Crunch." It's pretty awesome.
The fans here are so passionate. I remember a friend of mine, my buddy Maddie, and we had a couple beers, and we went and we got tickets to. It was the Game 7 of the Calder Cup playoff. It was Rochester and Syracuse, and like the atmosphere was like electric, right? And in the arena, when we got into the War Memorial, I remember there were people like they were waving American flags, and these Rochester fans, and there were people over there, and there wasn't like, I mean, obviously it doesn't get any higher pressure than that situation for the players, the fans, people driving from Rochester. I mean, those. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because it was that type of thing,
Yeah.
And what I loved was like during like we'd go to get beers, or like we'd bump into someone from Rochester and we'd heckle them or they'd heckle us. But it was one of those things where the Syracuse fans and Rochester fans were like, hey, we're seeing playoff hockey game. I mean, in all honesty too, and I love sports. We were talking about sports before we started. There might not be anything more intense than Game 7 of a hockey game. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. I've been in two in my career. One was with Syracuse. It was against Toronto, and what a game. Like, the game is just back and forth. Like, it's crazy. You never know what's going to happen. And the other one I was in juniors, we were down 4-0 after the first, and we came back and won the game in overtime 8-7. It's just a crapshoot. Honestly, Game 7s it's awesome.
That's an amazing comeback, man. I mean, that's something that you take. I mean, obviously you take any of those experiences with you the rest of your life, but you're talking about that type of, after a playoff game or something, right? Versus a regular season game, which are still important, but you leave everything on the ice and you're like super exhausted. So after an overtime come from behind victory, were you just like wiped?
I honestly didn't say a word for the next like 4 or 5 hours. I couldn't believe what had just happened. Like, the way it went, we were down 4-0 after first. We came back. Our coach was like, hey, we just need 2 goals. 2 goals, we'll go back. It'll be 4-2. We'll go in the third. We'll get another 2. We'll be fine. We get 2 goals off the bat within the first 2 minutes of the period. And then they score again, so it's like 5-2, and now we're all, oh, crap. But then we make it 5-4 going into the third. We bring it back to 5-4, and we're going into the third like, wow, we got this. Come out, 5-5. We go up 6-5. Yeah, we go up 6-5, and then we're like, wow, this is our game. We just came all the way back. They tied up 6-6, 7-6. They scored right away, back to back, and now we're like, again, like, oh my god, well, hey, that was a sick comeback. Like, whatever. Like, this is a great game, and then we score right after, like 7-7, go to overtime on the road. And then win it in overtime, 8-7. Like, it was a whirlwind. Like, it was crazy.
Oh my god! When you guys scored the winning goal, was it just like mayhem? Like, you just went crazy?
That rink, it was Rimouski. That rink was always so loud when we played there. It was packed. And when we scored, that was it. It was like our parents were the only ones we could hear it. Like, it was a pin drop. And then like the moms, like the high pitched scream, like, ah! That's all you could hear. Then they were saying that like the fans, they were really into it. They had like signs of, oh, you guys are divers, like 10 out of 10 every time they got a penalty on us. So then the guy who scored ended up skating to center ice and diving, like plunging into the It was awesome. Like it was.
Man.
I honestly was shook for the next 4 or 5 hours. It was crazy.
That is awesome. That might be the best story we've had on this show so far. Now I'm pumped up. Now I'm just going to run through a wall after we get off the call. So, all right. So in honor of the Tampa Bay Lightning, what we're going to do is we finish the show with the lightning round.
All right.
So that was my little hockey pun. My partner said don't make that joke, but we did it anyways. So the lightning round is we're just going to give you 5 questions. You've got to pick one or the other, say why, and then you're good to go. You ready?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. Would you rather play for the Charleston Chiefs or the Mighty Ducks?
Play for the Chiefs. Yep. The Chiefs for sure. 100%.
That's
because it's just my style of hockey. So.
Oh yeah, that's totally true. You're less of the flying V, more of a flying right hook. You know what I mean?
Left hook. I'm a lefty.
I'm a lefty too. That's awesome. Okay, so you have to pick a line mate of Check-in or Crosby.
Ovechkin.
That was a quick answer too. So
yeah.
Why so quick?
Because Ovechkin has that grittiness to him where he came in the league scoring and hitting, and like I just love that he's a shooter. So
yeah, and that complements your style of play pretty sharply too.
Yeah, I don't want Crosby feeding me and me missing a goal. Like I rather just put it anywhere on the ice and Ovechkin take a slap shot, top corner or whatever, call it a day.
I really was excited to hear your answer to this question because to me, if you're thinking about like a line coming out, right, and when lines switch everything like that. Like if you see a certain player come onto the ice or come onto a football field, sometimes that person or that line or that group is going to make your life miserable. So like you want to go out, punish people, score, and then all of a sudden have them be like, oh, thank God there's finally a line change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I can get in there. Ovechkin would be able to get in there, and then he could score from anywhere on the ice. So that's, it'd be great for both of us, really.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody wins in that situation. Okay, so this is another one that's tough because it's between 2 greats. You have to pick between Biggie or Tupac.
Oof. Tupac.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now you have to arm wrestle one of the following 2 people: Vance Lederman or Jim Sorosi.
Only one of them. I can't do both.
No, you can do both. That's the answer right there. At the same time, though, you got to go at the same time.
Honestly, I'll put Vance on my right, Jim on my left, and we'll. Yeah, for sure. You
like your chances? I think we might need to have to make that happen.
I would love to, gladly.
Okay, so awesome. That would be fun to watch. Okay, so when you're making a grilled cheese, are you a butter on the outside or mayo on the outside?
Butter, 100%.
The mayo turned you right off, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'm not a big mayo guy.
All right. I respect it. So here's the deal. You do a lot for the community, man. You're a multiple winner of the Syracuse Man of the Year. What's something that you want to share with people in Syracuse? Something that you want to share about anything at all? Like you've been so great and gracious with your time. What's something that we can share with the people for you?
I mean, I just love like you said, the hockey and Syracuse, the Crunch couldn't be a better fit. I love the blue collar city of Syracuse. So the way I play, just that the fans keep showing up and keep supporting the team like they've been doing. It's awesome. And, be loud and let us hear you out there. That's it.
Dude, you're a great fit for Syracuse. You're a great fit for the show. We're so glad to have you around. So all y'all listen to Spatchcock Nation, subscribe on YouTube to Spatchcock Funk. Make sure you go to Crunch Games and cheer this man on because he's a fighter for the city. He's a good man. Thank you so much for your time, Wally. You are awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Matt.
Cool.